What's up, guys? Welcome back. Now, is it possible for a designer scent to smell just as rich, as deep, as complex as a niche scent? Well, to put it quite simply, the answer would be yes. And the proof of that is the perfume called Eau Parfumée au Thé Noir by the house of Bvlgari. Now, guys, if I told you that this 75 ml bottle cost me 35 euros, would you believe it? Well, that is actually what happened. I managed to get a great deal on this one, which honestly is one of the wonders of modern perfumery, simply because there are so many niche perfumes that are not even half as good as this one is, not even half as complex, as mysterious. This is one of those scents that will just bring you a memorable experience. It is just as dark as the bottle suggests, even though the main note is tea. But we're not talking about green tea, we're not talking about the regular tea. This is all about black tea. Now, that note will basically be surrounded by other notes that will just give it a lot of character. This perfume was made by Jacques Cavalier, who is the creator of the first mainstream oud perfume, which all of you know is M7. He's a master blender, he's one of those master perfumers that needs no introduction, and whenever he puts his hand in a creation, you can rest assured that very high quality will come along. This is no less than all of his other great creations. Actually, it's one of his best achievements, especially considering the low budget that he had to work with. Now, guys, this has a level of depth that has rarely been seen in this house. They created perfumes such as Bvlgari Black about 25 years ago, which used to be a masterpiece. Now it's discontinued for some reason, but you still can find it around. It used to be one of my scents in high school. And honestly, this has some slight resemblance to that Bvlgari Black from the early 2000s, but twisted in a different way. It mixes such rich notes like oud, like leather, like patchouli. This has woody notes. It has obviously the black tea that I was talking about. It has a lovely rose accord that will give it a bit of airiness. But usually what you get, the first thing that will come into your mind with this perfume is a lovely smoke. The sprayer is not that great. It doesn't project that far. It does not expand too much, but whatever. I paid 35 euros for this perfume, so what can you expect? What really matters is the smell, and this is something that will just make you wonder. It opens up with a slightly leathery, herbaceous note. This has no citrus whatsoever on the top. This is straightforward darkness, luxury, opulence. This is something so unique. I don't think I've ever smelled anything like this in my whole entire life. And you need to know that this got 5 stars by Luca Turin. So 5 stars means masterpiece, and I can honestly understand why it might not be for everybody, but what perfume is anyways. So what you will get is basically, once you apply this, as I said, you have that smoky accord that quickly will descend into a lovely, leathery, slightly greenish accord with a woody backbone. It does not have the typical skankiness that oud comes attached with, even though you must know that high quality oud does not smell skanky at all. What usually gives the skankiness is the animal notes that usually are attached to the oud notes. Usually oud-based perfumes also have a note of civet or castoreum or some labdanum, some slightly animalic, dirty ingredients that usually gives that fecal effect. But oud per se is a wonderful note that is either green, it can be milky, it can be multifaceted, and this is a very subtle, lovely, pleasant oud that will work as a fixative note and will bring the scent to last a whole day. This is a quite long lasting scent, and if you want to keep the wonderful top note, just apply the perfume on your clothes. Now, I smell a bit more of that black tea, which, as I said, is a bit herbaceous, but it's not sweet at all. It's very dry. This is an extremely dry perfume, completely deprived of any sort of sweetness. There's no amber, no vanilla. The flower, the main flower is rose, but this is not the sweet rose. This would be more like the green rose, like the rose that has been detached, and all you have is basically the stems, the leaves. You don't have the petals. This is just stems and leaves. And this is really heavenly, guys. This is so complex, so rich and luxurious, extremely masculine. Even though I would not mind to smell this on a woman, this would be so different than the typical amber perfumes, floral perfumes. I really love it when a woman wears dark, incensey, resinous perfumes. It's just a breath of fresh air, because we're so used to being surrounded by ladies that love to fill rooms up with their vanillas and orientals, and honestly this is so typical of the European girls. Here in Rome, guys, whenever you get into a club, in a restaurant, in any sort of store, right away, even when I go grocery shopping, instead of smelling the food, I smell ambers and vanillas, and I smell poison, I smell perfumes such as Lancôme Trésor, I smell all those beautiful scents, but they're so powerful, and I really like it when a scent is a bit more subtle. I like it when it's more private, when it's something that you have to discover by getting closer to someone. That's just the way it is. And for example, I noticed that whenever I travel toward the American continent or even in the Caribbeans, girls over there, they wear lighter scents, and it's such a pleasant surprise. They wear perfumes that are a bit more floral, more citrusy, just more easygoing, not as rich and deep and slaps in your face such as the European, Parisian girls, Roman girls. Such a breath of fresh air. And with this perfume, this is just a beautiful experience. It's obviously done in such a masterful way. There's some notes in here, such as the tobacco, that will lend that hayish, slightly sweet accord, but it's never too much. It's just perfectly balanced, and if you just smell it globally, you will not really understand what this smells like, because everything is just balanced to perfection, as you would expect from a master perfumer such as Jacques Cavalier. As French perfumers just know what they're doing. They've been creating perfumes for the past 150 years. Of course, perfumery was not born in France. Perfumery was actually born in Egypt. So back in those days when the pharaohs were ruling the continent of the northern Africa, perfumes were more like smokes, and hence the reason why a perfume is called perfume. It comes from the Latin word profumum, which means through the smoke, literally. And people 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago used to go through the smoke of myrrh and incense in order to scent their clothes and then their hair, and that's how the original perfume was born. Then it traveled to the Middle East, and then just around 300 years ago it basically came in Europe thanks to Caterina de' Medici, which then married the French king and brought her personal chemists that used to make perfumes for her in France. And it's all because of Caterina de' Medici that the French basically started getting all the best chemists and creating what is now known as modern perfumery. So it's just a huge global thing that started off in Egypt, Middle East, and then Europe. Now we have perfected the whole art of perfumery, but we need to thank other people for this wonderful invention. And this basically transports me in, honestly, a palace of an Egyptian king, of an Egyptian pharaoh. This is literally like spraying yourself with smoke, with luxurious, resinous, almost not myrrh-like, but incensey smoke. It doesn't have the sweetness and the balsamicness of the myrrh. It has that smokiness that you would find in a church when the incense is going through the rows of gentlemen that are attending the Sunday prayers. This is just very transportative, a meditative scent, something that is super special and super unique, guys. Give it a try. Honestly, for the price, this is like almost ridiculously inexpensive. Usually it will cost about $60 to $70 for the 70 ml, but you will definitely find deals. I bought this, as I said, for 35 euros, and it's a 70 ml bottle, so that's like a present, and it's totally worth it, guys. Give this one a try. Au Parfumee au Thé Noir by Jacques Cavalier. Hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you soon. Take it easy, guys.